Is Bitcoin the best safe haven asset in the world, or is it actually going to crash after the halving? You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. In this one video, I'm going to explain everything you need to know about Bitcoin right now. I've got all the charts, I've got diagrams, I've got the articles that you need to see, all related to what's going on with Bitcoin in one video. Don't go anywhere. The very first thing is Bitcoin halving will deal a $10 billion blow to crypto miners. And so you'll see here, cryptocurrencies update will slash the new supply in late April. This is a big deal for everybody. Now, the miners, they get half the rewards, but those individuals who are investing in Bitcoin, they believe that now is the time that Bitcoin performs extremely well. I'm actually going to show you the charts around that. Here's a diagram which explains the fourth Bitcoin halving. You could see here, sometime in April 2024, the reward miners receive for mining Bitcoin will go from 6.25 to 3.125, with significant consequences for the world's most valuable digital currency. And so you'll see that on this particular one. You could look at it. At some point, it's going to go down to 1 Satoshi, and thereby cannot be divided any further. That's the smallest unit. You could look a little bit further. It shows you halvings and the miners' revenue. And so the miners are the ones that are sort of making this. Think about like gold mining. It's digging, it's making things happen. Well, the rewards go down with time. And so the original design here was that they would be able to increase computing power, more would, get on board with this. But as time moved on, well, then it would actually become more difficult to, digitally mine this stuff. And so it was all part of the original design. This is the way it is. Here we are today. At this time, they said it used to be 50, then it was 6, now it's 3.125 as of this halving, and so the reward is less and less. So where it becomes interesting is the areas in which you have to pay a lot for energy. It doesn't make sense to mine Bitcoin. The computing power continues to go up. As that goes up, of course, those become more expensive. Those take more energy as well. So the computers there once was a time, maybe I'm dating myself here, but I remember you could do it on your own computer. You could mine Bitcoin. You wouldn't get a crazy amount, but you could mine it on your own computer. Not a big deal. Now you have to have special hardware. It's got to be in like a room. People get these rooms filled with these things, and they suck up so much energy. And so in some places, it doesn't make any sense anymore. Other places where the energy is subsidized, where the energy is abundant, you could do it there. All right. And so that's an interesting thing about what's happening. Links will be in the description, by the way, if you wanted to see this. The expectation here is that this time could be a little bit different. A little bit different this time. We have never seen the price at where it is, basically a record high right now. We have never seen Bitcoin at the record high before the halving as it is today. There's talk about what could happen in the near future. Here it is, looking at the current supply, 19.68 million BTC. There's only 21 million that will ever be mined. And we're showing right now at the fourth BTC halving. So looking at that, just trying to give you an idea of where we are. So the rewards are going to get less in 4 years from now. Bitcoin miners are prepared for the halving, a key event in Bitcoin cycle that halves the rewards for mining new blocks and occurs roughly every 4 years or 210,000 blocks. The upcoin halving is going to come down. You'll see that there, slashing the daily mining output from 900 to 450, impacting miners' profitability. So I question whether we're going to see better improved hardware. Are we going to see cheaper electricity, or like some places offering cheaper electricity prices? Or is there going to be less mining overall? What's going to happen here? I'm really interested to hear what you have to think around this. You could see just it gets into the, like, if you want to know the nitty gritty of what that's all about. But what I see is too much speculation going on within the whole cryptocurrency space right now. Memes, pumps, and blunders. Absurd crypto spectacles make a comeback. There are several. There are several different coins that have come up. I've talked about this with my Finance Friday crew, and that's not a good sign, okay? Because if it was all like, if you just add up the Doge coins and the Shibas and all these different things, and you look at it, you're talking about tens of billions of dollars that could have been used in productive means. Tens of billions of dollars. And I'm talking about, even if it stayed within the crypto world, tens of billions of dollars is literally just going to waste. Hopefully people make money. Hopefully, somebody gets, at least makes money off it, if not getting rich. But there's too much speculation. And we know that because there's all these silly coins that are out there. BlackRock CEO is apparently very bullish on Bitcoin as its ETF crosses $17 billion. More money is going into the ETFs, and there's been for a while, that the funds will start to incorporate Bitcoin in a small percentage in a lot of their different funds because they want exposure to it. So imagine a lot of the major funds now holding 1% in Bitcoin. A lot of them don't even do that in gold. So there's, of course, it's all talk at this point, but the potential for at least a longer term rise in Bitcoin's price as more accumulation takes place. According to Michael Saylor, obviously he has a stake in this, capitalize on Bitcoin, he says. So his company MicroStrategy has done very well since the first Bitcoin purchase here, over 1,000%. Now, when Bitcoin came down significantly to 16,000, not exactly, wasn't exactly favored. You could see Bitcoin is up 463% in that given time, and the S&P 500, 52%, gold 16%. So looking at that, this is, since 2020, by the way, it's just interesting to see the performance has been undeniable. There's no question about that. And this could potentially go on. But for how long? Does that change at any point? Do people start to believe that this is part of the greater fool theory and they start rushing for the exits? Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies tumble amid Middle East tensions. And this is where things start to get a little bit iffy, because what happened here was, depending on when you're watching this, as soon as this situation started to unfold, we saw the price immediately go down, immediately. And if the markets were open, the markets were closed at the time, crypto markets, of course, 24/7, they reacted. Crypto markets reacted quite a bit. The stock market would have tumbled as well. And so it shows us that they move in sync with each other. We have to see, I'm recording this prior to the market open. And so we're going to find out how the market reacts to everything that's been going on, if there's any new development between, now and then. This is very important because a lot of people have suggested that this is a safe haven asset. That's what they call it. And more money is going to flow into the safe haven asset. Or is it really just speculation and a bit of capital, trying to get around capital controls? They're trying to move money in between borders. They don't want the watchful eye of, some institutions or, governments. And maybe it's a mixture of all of those things. So remember what the details, what the facts show. I'm showing you here the BTC price, which has been sort of chopping along for about a month. And you can see the VIX index, which is the volatility of the stock market. And you're looking at how as soon as there's this volatility that's been happening, well, of course, Bitcoin is affected at the same time. The volatility, it scares not the hardcore BTC investors, no, but it's those who are just in it purely as a speculative play. That's it. They're following the momentum. They are going to be in and out. They don't care about Bitcoin. They don't care about it long term. All they want to do is make a buck. Today, tomorrow, they couldn't care less. So watch out. Remember, speculation is what markets are driven by on a day-to-day basis. Maybe not over a very long term, if you look at it, but on a shorter term, there's no question about it. Every market's like that in a sense. This article here is basically just talking about what's been happening over the last while, monetary debasement. We're seeing that, and some suggest that Bitcoin's price rise is really a reflection of that monetary debasement, devaluing our currencies. And so we can see things like gold going higher, as we have been over the last little while. We can see things like Bitcoin becoming worth 70,000 US dollars. Most people, even the biggest proponents of Bitcoin, let's say 10 years ago, nobody was saying it would ever be there. They didn't think that. It wasn't a thing. And now in more recent years, of course, we got those higher and higher price predictions. Gold versus Bitcoin. They're basically just talking about this in this article. They make the case, it's roughly even, but they make the case for Bitcoin. A lot of people call it digital gold. But what do you think about that? Is it really digital gold? Or is it something else altogether? There's a few things that I hear often about either one, and of course, every single asset class has advantages and disadvantages. There is no perfect asset class. If I took real estate and I say, look, it's real, it's tangible, it's physical, I can see it, I can understand it. I can calculate, do different calculations with it, and I could go back in history, hundreds of years in this area, and I could see what has happened. Well, that's all fantastic stuff. But at the same time, you could have new rules that are put in place by your government, which suddenly hike the property taxes in the area, or they say, your tenants don't have to pay you. These things could happen. So every asset class, no matter what it is, they have pros and they have cons. And we need to be aware of that. Like if somebody's 100% in one thing or another, I don't know historically that has really worked out well. And Warren Buffett and this and that. Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway. So they invest in a certain way. Number one, they invest different than most others. But you gotta understand, they're investing, number one, they buy a lot of companies outright. So don't just look at their stock holdings. They have whole companies outright, but they're in many different industries. Look at Coca-Cola, okay? They own all kinds of companies in their own right. They are a global company selling all over the world. Then they've got insurance. They've got banks. They've got oil. They've got all different things. So in one way, yeah, you could say they're not diversified, but in another way, actually, they're quite diversified. Okay, you just got to look at the wider picture. Okay, so that's all I'm trying to say. Bitcoin demand in Argentina reaches the highest point in nearly 2 years. Of course, there's going to be demand when the currency is falling dramatically. There's countries out there that are using it more and more. El Salvador is being one of them. And so what we have here is the reason to be watchful. Bitcoin has never been at the rate of accumulation that it has seen prior to the halving. We haven't dealt with this before. In prior cycles, Bitcoin would go up. I mean, depends. There are variances, but the expectation here from many is that Bitcoin's price will rise 100% from the point of halving the next few days, as you're watching this, will double in price within a 6 to 9 month period, let's call it a year from now. So knowing that, do you think it's wise to buy in? Or is this a bubble and we have already gone throughout there and we're past it and this is likely going to tumble from here on out? Nobody knows what the future is, but it's just interesting to see historically. I saved it to the end to tell you that within a 6 to 9 month period, the expectation is that there will be a doubling from here just based on prior events. We don't have many to go on. We're not looking back like gold, thousands of years in history. We have a short timeline, And so that's what it tells us. I want to know what you think in the comments below. This is the type of discussion that we have on Finance Friday Live. I want to see you join there as well. People watch the Finance Friday Live. Some people, due to time zone differences, due to other things, they watch the recordings after, but it's up to you what you can do. I would love to see you live on there, but link is in the description at the top for that. Read through, see if it's the right fit for you. And as always, hit that thumbs up button. If you disagree, hit that thumbs down button. If you want to give your comments, put them down below, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.